Hi there, welcome back to Tyranny. We're here standing on our spire, freshly made Archon, and we have been summoned by the other Archons. For example, our boss, Tyranny. So let's travel to him first, to the Bastard City. Kyros has made a sort of an edict that declares the mightiest Archon may rule over the others, may defeat the others. There are no laws anymore from stopping them. So it's strange. What could we expect? First we need to hear the final judgment from Tyranny. Let's see. There's a lot of people here. Will they attack us? Will this be the end? Let's find out. This is an outrage. We demand to be heard. This decree is not subject to deliberation. The officers will escort all out. Even the Fatebinders. Come on. Fatebinder, I had assumed you would ignore my court summons as you have in the past. But it would appear that only the threat of criminal punishment spurs you into action. He gestures with his staff to the rest of the court audience. Let us proceed, Fatebinder. This could very well be the defining hour of the conquest. I mean, he's in our eyes, he's still our boss. So we'll bow to Tyranny.
I first want to make it clear why we've assembled today. After the collapse of Vendrian's Well and the start of the Civil War, it became clear to me that there must have been some great fault on the part of the Archons. We come together to root out the source of our troubles, and determine which of the Archons has sown more chaos during the war.
I think the answer to that question is obvious, Educator. Giving voice to it here is but a formality to confirm what we already know. Says Albatronus from the Disfavored. Tyranny turns to aim what you can only assume is a stern look. He refocuses back onto you with cool stoicism.
Much has happened since I dispatched you on that mission. With Kyros' mandate that only one Archon may rule the tiers, the verdict is now more important than ever. We cannot allow this conquest to descend into total anarchy. You backed Graven Ash and his disfavored army at the start of the Civil War. I know that you must have been torn in your decision, but I assure you that your loyalty to the Archon isn't in question here. Only your findings will be weighed with their due importance.
So, what are we gonna say here? This is important, but yeah, we'll stay on the side of the law. I mean, Ash hasn't been easy always, so Ash is not an easy man to follow, especially in the last one with killing Cairn, but I lend my strength to his cause. Challenge you to find an Archon more caring and devoted than Ash. Albatronus shakes with suppressed rage. Apologies, Your Honor.
Hard work deserving of commendation, I'm sure. Such details can be sorted out when the war is over. In your professional and objective opinion, which of the two Archons is guilty of sowing the most chaos in the tiers?
Well, that can only be the voices of Narad. I mean, it's the force of chaos itself.
And so the charges are declared. I'm confident you've come with prepared arguments and research, as is expected of your station.
I won't stand here and patiently sit through baseless accusation, Bloodmark says.
In accordance to Kyros' legal custom, you will state the crimes against the Archon and offer up your evidence. The court will weigh your claims on their merits. I would encourage you to make as many claims as possible. Bringing charges against an Archon is no small matter. They are not accountable to Kyros' laws with the same rigidity as an average citizen, so it may be more difficult to justify their guilt.
Understood. I won't withhold any legitimate claims from the court.
Provided that you have the evidence to back them, of course. To make a claim lacking evidence will only harm your case in the court's eyes. Is this understood?
Yes, I'll back up my accusations with hard facts. You no doubt recall the categories of infraction to which Archons may be held liable. They are sedition, incompetence, war crimes, and the hoarding of forbidden knowledge. Rogalus nods to you. It is not every day that we are called upon to determine guilt on such a scale. Tread lightly.
Then we are ready to begin. State your claims, Fatebinder. You may proceed at your own pace.
Yeah, well, at least they wanted forbidden knowledge, right? And they have perpetrated vile acts during this campaign. I accuse him of war crimes. The Voices of Nerad has a tendency to interpret Kyros' law as he desires, but I hope this practice hasn't spun out of control. Tell me of these war crimes, Fatebinder. I found a log of interrogations and tortures by one Foul Murmur. He recorded vile acts with disfavored prisoners from before the war. Disgusting! Nothing less than the full brunt of justice's hammer will avenge my countrymen. Albitronas shakes her head. Murmur's grasp on literacy is uncertain at best. The man couldn't remember the date of his own birth, but less the date of an interrogation. Bloodmulch trails off as Tunon stares him down. Shocking. More so than the acts themselves, their brazen disregard for peace, as if the Archon himself mucks us from afar. Do any other war crimes come to mind? Jack Dromedy was conscripting from the Unbroken when his forces were forbidden from the region. An infraction on the stalwart territory to which Gravenash placed his claim. This shows some regard for the disfavored operation. Any other war crimes come to mind? Well, during the Haven campaign, the Scarlet Chorus sought to conscript new recruits from the Forgebound. Bloodmulk grumbles quietly to himself, but says nothing in his defense. Indeed, had the situation transpired within my reach, I would have intervened to stop it. The Scarlet Chorus should have known better than to take skilled artisans from Kyros. Do any other war crimes come to mind? I have exhausted my evidence of war crimes, Your Honor. Very well, have you another charge to levy against the Archon? Well, guilty of hoarding forbidden knowledge. A difficult truth to bring to light. The fact remains that Kyros is the keeper of wisdom across Terratus, and there are avenues of study denied us under her immutable law. If the Archon of Secrets treats his conquest as an opportunity to pillage forbidden knowledge toward his own ends, then it is worth this court's attention. Make your case, Fatebinder. The censor sought to claim the silent archive for the Voices of Nerad. Kyros proclaimed the Edict of Fire for a good reason. The sages would not relinquish their dangerous knowledge. Claiming this silent archive is an obvious transgression of the Overlord's authority. There is no telling how many recruits were exposed to dangerous law and will require immediate execution. I wouldn't worry over much, great educator. I'm sure the censor picked only the most dim and illiterate swine for the task. Not what you'd call bookish types? Fatebinder Callio. Unless you can personally vouch for every single recruit who entered the library, it will be up to the court's discretion to decide the magnitude of guilt. Callio nods up to Tunon. Can you voice further evidence that the Archon hoarded forbidden knowledge? No. That's all? Well, the Archon is guilty of incompetence, Your Honor. The Voices of Nerad has suffered charges of incompetence in the past, but always proved himself a capable leader and brilliant strategist. I'm curious if your evidence will prove otherwise. Go on, Fatebinder. The court's attention is yours. Well, first, that game was really At the burning library, the censor twisted her mission into a sick game. Mighty Tunon, I was under the impression that an Archon could direct their forces as they saw fit, and that a game was as good as an expedition, if it got the job done. Not when valuable wartime resources are at stake, Tunon says, and the Archon stood to lose troops for needless entertainment. Overruled. Kyros takes the knowledge of the Vellum Citadel quite seriously, as do I. If one of the Voices officers reduce their orders to a source of amusement, that reflects poorly on the Archon. Have you any other claims of incompetence? Well, Serene started a cult devoted to worshipping her in Lethian's Crossing, causing chaos in the region and hampering the war effort. What? How does this reflect on the Voices of Nerat? Serene's flights of fancy are hardly new. If people were blamed every time Serene did something she wasn't supposed to, Kyros wouldn't have any army anymore. Well, Bloodmalk is correct, Fatebinder. Serene's actions in and of themselves do not represent incompetence on the part of the Voices of Nerat. Her job was to recruit for the Scarlet Chorus. Her inability to direct the dedication of her followers from herself to Nerat is on her, not him. What further evidence do you have to support this claim? Well, we could go this. Have the Scarlet Chorus not assigned to blame to Ash for the perceived sins of Cairn? So this could be right, this could be right. I'm not. Let's use our subterfuge. Maybe. Yeah, this seems like the cleverer argument. Instead of just blaming, this is like a comparison. Have the Scarlet Chorus not assigned blame to Ash and the disfavored for the perceived sins of Cairn? Is this not the same? Should an Archon not answer for the actions of someone in their charge? Tunon nods. The Voices of Nerat has failed to properly control his subordinates, causing the destabilization of a region very important in arming Kyros' army. This claim will be added to the list of charges against him. Have you any other claims of incompetence? Well, I'm finished arguing for incompetence, Your Honor. Should return to the matter of the charges. I accuse the Archon of sedition, most foul. Sedition! No small matter to weigh against an Archon, but if you believe the Voices of Nerat has colluded with the enemy, then have on. Yeah, there's plenty to add here. Present your case, Fightbinder. Well, the Voices of Nerat gave disfavored battle plans to the stalwart defenders. Bah! As if any credible evidence could be dredged up from that junk heap of a realm. Whatever you found is probably so smeared or torn as to be illegible. You found evidence of such a crime? Shocking that the Archon of Secrets would allow any trace to fall in wayward hands, but Stalwart is far from the Archon's reach. Simply fascinating. Do you have any further evidence supporting the claim of sedition? Well, under the Voices' orders, Harkyand Bronze smuggled iron weapons to the Vendrian Guard. Then the Archon of Secrets' treasury runs deeper than even I imagined. I fear this news harms the very foundation of our offensive. Thank you for delivering it to our attention. And do you have any further evidence supporting the claim of sedition? The Scarlet Chorus aided the Unbroken during the Civil War. I found his favored patrol routes on an enemy body delivered by Chorus agents. The Chorus gang boss swallows as you present the evidence and glances up at Tunon with mounting anxiety. Documentation is rare indeed in a time of war where confusion and disorder reign. The court accepts this evidence of collusion. Do you have any further evidence supporting the claim of sedition? I make no more claims of the sedition, Your Honor. Then let us move on to the charges. I have made my case to the best of my abilities, Your Honor.
Very well. I have weighed your evidence against the charges. The Court of Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and Counsel to Kyros the Overlord, finds the voices of Nerat guilty of sowing chaos, flaunting his authority, and using the time of war to advance his own twisted ambition. The sentence is death.
What mockery of a process is this? The charges are all fabrications against my master, and I won't hear of it. The Court of Tunon has ruled, you overripe pustule. I suggest you hold your tongue. In accordance with Kyros' laws, the court headsman will deliver the verdict and its consequences to our former colleague. I summon Blade and Mark to appear. Tunon bangs his gavel to the floor. Shadows billow and flare ominously, thicker than blood and deathly, seeping and gnashing, eating at the throne room from the farthest edges in, closer and closer, creeping still until finally, for a single held breath, even the air goes black and the light has been swallowed. And then there is light again, and Bleed and Mark, the Archon assassin, standing before you, shrouded in shades and daggers and death, and with white teeth flashing in his mouth as he laughs. Ha 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 ha. Kid, educator, he regards you each, eyes two coals that burn as he speaks. And who will this blade be cutting today, the usual or someone new? We could carry out the execution ourselves. But would we do that? Mix up the powers? We have done that before. We'll just tell Bleed and Mark. It's okay. You're to execute the Archon of Secrets, the voices of Nerat. It's all going to be done as law and customs have made it. A brow raised, the assassin flicks his gaze to Tunon. Been a while since I snuffed an Archon. Could be a tall order. Might take me longer than last time. He smiles, but it's a chilling look. Something from a nightmare. Unless maybe the kid wants to take a stab at it? Well, in that case, we can take a stab at it. Now, see, that's what I like about you, kid. You're so malleable. He tips his head to you in farewell and amusement, flourishing a shadowy dagger between his fingers. Don't get yourself killed, or I'll have to clean up after you. The court has greater need of legal minds than it does of headsmen, but I will allow this predisposition of yours as long as it doesn't conflict with your duties. Tunon darts his gaze between you and Bleed and Mark, momentarily troubled. Deliver this writ to the guilty, and execute them with the court's approval. First, there is the matter of the petitioner who so blindly followed their corrupt and reprobate master. The educator turns to attention to the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus petitioners, even through his stoic mask, the intensity of his gaze is evident. Oh, what can I do for you, mighty Tunon? Bloodmulch winces and takes a cautious step back. Given the court's findings, I judge you guilty by association with the voices of Nerat. As he perpetuated his crimes, you had the audacity to represent the Scarlet Chorus in this hall of law. Tunon regards you. What of his fate, student? You prove the voice's guilt. His servant is yours to dispense with, as you see fit. Well, he hasn't been responsible for that. As much as it's a chorus rat, he should only be stripped of rank and made to serve the court. As fair and compromising as ever, Tunon nods. None of all. Escort this one from the court. The time for discipline and reintegration will come after our business is concluded. Return once your duties are completed and the Archon is dead. There's more still to resolve before this conflict reaches a satisfactory end. Tunon regards you with an intense, emotionless stare. Do not dally. Whoa, thank you for watching. Happy gaming to you, and let's begin the death of the voices of Nerat in the next episode. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll speak to our... Yeah. We'll hold a war council in the next episode. We'll speak with Verz, Lantry, and Barik, as they really want to speak to us. So, thank you for watching. Happy gaming. This is Immanuel signing out.